It's 8 o'clock this Thursday morning. We're taking a live look at Suffolk and East Amherst streets in Buffalo's Kensington neighborhood. You can see a car right there that crashed into a house. It's also a shooting investigation that's happening. We'll have a live report straight ahead. Thanks for joining us for Your Morning Buffalo. I'm Scott Patterson. Dan Russell's here with your Weather on the Ones forecast. Nice spring day ahead of us, Dan.
Yeah, you know, it was a chilly start, but temperatures are quickly climbing. In fact, most of Western New York already now up into the 40s with 41 at the airport in Buffalo, 43 in Dunkirk, 45 already in Batavia, and this climb will continue in a hurry here over the next couple of hours. By 11 a.m., we have temperatures climbing well into the 50s, and when it's all said and done, we end up in the low to mid-60s this afternoon. That's above average for this time of year, but we're going to cool things off and also be picking up some soaking rain as we finish up the weekend, head to the weekend. I'll talk about that in about 10 minutes.
We're following breaking news in Buffalo, a shooting in the city's Kensington neighborhood. Spectrum News reporter Madison Elliott is live with the latest. Madison.
Good morning, Scott. Well, you know, we are still waiting on new information from police, but as this area has been slowly clearing out all morning long, the only thing that hasn't cleared out is that car that is still stuck in the side of the house. We got here around 6:30 this morning, and even around 8 o'clock now, it is still there. Police are still working on getting that removed. Now, we told you earlier that a neighbor came up to us and told us it was her son who was inside of that car, and at that time, we didn't know his condition, and we still don't know his condition or if he's been pulled out. But what we can now confirm with you is that nobody was transported to the hospital. But again, we will continue to wait for police to tell us what his condition is, and we'll update you as we learn. Now, this area here is still blocked off along East Amherst and Suffolk Street. So if you have to come through this area, we would advise you just to stay away. It's still an active scene. Now, a lot of the neighbors have returned inside their houses, but we will be staying out here as we wait for more information, and we will update you when we can. Reporting in Buffalo, Madison Elliott, Spectrum News.
Good advice there to stay away from that area if you're driving. Let's check in on the rest of the roads for your morning commute with Barry V.
Give you a quick look at the map, Scott, to show you right where that is so you can plan accordingly to stay away from the area right now for that police area tied up. If you're going to be coming across the South Grand Island Bridge anytime soon, northbound, southbound, looking fine. Eastbound, Youngman over to Main Street beyond the 990 to Main Street. Shouldn't have any hassles there. Connecting to the 90 at exit 50 is not going to be a problem. And if you're traveling 190 southbound all the way down to the 90, we're looking good both directions on the 90 as well. We'll check back soon on Your Morning Buffalo.
We have a traffic alert you need to know about. If you plan to drive downtown, there will be some road work in a few busy locations. Buffalo DPW crews will be working on Delaware Ave between Church Street and Niagara Square and West Eagle Street between South Elmwood Ave and Pearl Street. Some lanes will be closed beginning at 9 this morning until 3 this afternoon. The travel restrictions will then continue during the same times tomorrow. City leaders say this improvement project should help the flow of rush hour traffic through downtown Buffalo. A traffic reminder, if you use Sheridan Drive in the town of Tonawanda, crews are still working to take down the pedestrian bridge over Sheridan between Delaware and Colvin. The road will be closed to traffic again tonight into tomorrow morning. Detour signs will be posted. The work is expected to be finished by tomorrow. It is NFL Draft Day, and in just a few hours, the Bills will add someone to their roster. Buffalo is projected to hold the 9th pick in the first round. But depending on who the Bills are targeting, they may trade back and hope the player they want falls to them anyway. Right now, there's plenty of speculation about two people the Bills could possibly add. The first is Jonah Williams, an offensive lineman from Alabama. He'd be a valuable piece to protect second-year quarterback Josh Allen. Or the Bills might choose to add a weapon for Allen. If that's the case, keep an eye on tight end TJ Hockenson. He can create mismatches as a receiver and gets high marks as a blocker in the run game. But this is a talented draft class, and with a pick in the top 10, the Bills could do just about anything. We have you covered throughout the day and night and all through the draft with live updates from Nashville and analysis from Orchard Park. The draft starts at 8 o'clock tonight. The Boy Scouts of America is further responding after thousands of child sex abuse accusations were released by a third party. The Boy Scouts say all cases of suspected abuse are reported to law enforcement. There are also so-called ineligible volunteer files that prevent children from being in the care of anyone considered unfit, criminal or not. which have been maintained for almost 100 years. And when New York's Child Victims Act takes effect in August, victims will be able to seek damages no matter how long ago the abuse happened.
We support victims, and we believe victims. And when victims come forward, and we hope that there's a way that we can equitably compensate victims, our board is looking at all of those options. We're very aware of the changes in the law, and our board is constantly evaluating our position.
The law firm Jeff Anderson and Associates released the names of 7,000 accused leaders across the country, Scout leaders, including at least a dozen names here in Western New York. In response to the Boy Scouts' response, the law firm says, quote, all the pledges and promises from the Boy Scouts of America fall short. The reality is they have to identify the names of thousands of offenders from their secret files. The Boy Scouts need to come clean and inform the communities who these people are, what they did, and where they are today. 3 priests in the Buffalo Catholic Diocese are on temporary leave after an incident at St. Peter and Paul Parish Rectory in Hamburg. The diocese says inappropriate and insensitive conversations took place during a social gathering involving seminarians and priests earlier this month. Christ the King Seminary launched an investigation after several seminarians reported the conversations, which they found offensive. Bishop Richard Malone has put Father Arthur Matoki and Father Patrick O'Keefe from St. Peter and Paul and Father Robert Orlowski from Our Mother of Good Counsel in Blaisdell on temporary leave while disciplinary actions are taken. The diocese notes the complaints do not include any physical or sexual abuse. We now know the name of the 21-year-old woman killed in a Cheektowaga car crash. Police say Jacqueline McLean was riding in a car with a 22-year-old woman when the car collided with an SUV. Police say the car was speeding and ran a red light at the intersection of Rossler Avenue and Dingen Street. McLean was thrown from the car and died at the scene Tuesday night. A vigil to honor McLean is being held at Health Sciences Charter School tomorrow evening at 6. Erie County gets an F rating when it comes to ozone pollution. A new report from the American Lung Association shows the county is not alone, though. The association says more than 50% of New Yorkers live in counties with failing grades. The years covered in this report were the 3 warmest in global history, and the report attributes many of the issues to climate change. The report calls for laws like the Clean Air Act and other environmental regulations to remain in place to help things improve.
4 in 10 people in the United States live in counties that have unhealthy ozone or particle pollution, and there was an increase of 7.2 million Americans who live in counties with unhealthy air compared to last year's report.
Although Erie County has a low ranking for ozone pollution, the report isn't all bad. The county ranks among the best in the nation for short-term particle pollution such as dust and soot. The United States banned slavery more than 150 years ago, but it still goes on to this day in the form of human trafficking. Today, you can learn how to spot the illegal practice and hear how victims can recover. Trocaire College is hosting a panel discussion about the subject. In particular, you'll hear how treatment plans can work as victims try to put their lives back together. Panelists include healthcare professionals and human services workers. They'll address the mental and physical toll of human trafficking and discuss how groups are working to end the practice. The panel runs from 2:30 to 4 this afternoon. Well, there's some welcome news for agritourism businesses in the town of Cambria. A zoning change passed in March has now been tweaked, allowing Sunflowers of Sanborn to keep operating. One town councilman says the special event permit was originally intended to only apply to businesses operating in agricultural zoned areas. That meant Sunflowers of Sanborn would not be allowed at all because it's in a residential zone. But now the town board has changed the plan, expanding the special events permit to all zones, including residential.
The main change was the special events permit, that the Sunflowers of Sanborn now are allowed to hold these special events by applying for the special events permit.
Grateful. We've been working with the town council and the building inspector, and since they have changed this new zoning ordinance now, it has allowed us to move forward.
Sunflowers of Sanborn will submit a site plan to the planning board next month. Businesses are limited to 250 guests at special events. Designers have been hard at work these past couple of months, transforming the Palmer Centennial House into the Junior League of Buffalo Decorators Show House. Spectrum News reporter Maura Christie is getting a live sneak peek at the house this morning before tours start this weekend. Hi, Maura.
Hi, Scott. That's right. And it might be a little chilly this morning to take a dip in the pool, but I mean, you see this gorgeous pool and hot tub in the backyard of the Palmer Centennial House, and Barbara Fitzpatrick is with us again, and you designed the she shed that is also in this backyard. So talk to me about what people will see when they come check out this she shed.
Well, the she shed is new to the Junior League house this year, donated by our sponsor, KeyBank. So we've put in some keys on the front to indicate that. The shed itself has been decorated in soft greens and whites, and it's a place for a woman to come and renew, refresh, and just recharge your batteries after a long day or before the start of a day.
Absolutely. And the shed itself, people can buy raffle tickets, and the shed will be auctioned off or raffled off, and everything in the shed is up for sale. But so in addition, why should people come and check out this designer show house as a whole?
This house has been transformed. It is a thing of beauty. I think people would be wonderfully surprised at how gorgeous it is inside and out. And we are looking forward to showing all our designers and how the hard work they've done.
Absolutely. It's definitely a sight to see. And coming up, we'll show you part of the boutique. After looking at this home, you'll definitely want to take something away with you for your home. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But for now, reporting in Buffalo, Maura Christie, Spectrum News.
Well, not a morning to be in that pool behind her by any means, but we're at least going to warm up nicely as we go along through the day. Dan, maybe you go sunbathing by the pool at some point.
Yeah, it's still very strong sunshine, and with less wind compared to yesterday, it's just going to feel a whole lot warmer. Temperatures are already climbing. Many have already climbed a good 5 to almost 10 degrees here over the last hour or so, and that's going to continue over the course this morning, with most ending up in the 60s. Take a look outside and check out this view from the 219 at Southwestern. You can see some of the Buffalo skyline there in the background. Just a beautiful start today. It was just that same clear sky allowed temperatures to plummet last night. That's one of the reasons why we have seen a chilly start. But as mentioned, we are warming quickly. Of course, it's a dry sweep here across western New York on SkyTracker Doppler radar, but you don't have to travel all too far to where we are tracking some showers. You get into areas of southern Pennsylvania. We do have some wet weather there, but that is pushing due east. And it's not until this area of low pressure, as we travel into Arkansas, this area of low pressure is going to be tracking towards us later tonight, tomorrow morning. That's when we're going to get into some steadier rain. And right now, it looks as though it could be on the heavier side. But at least during the daytime, get outside and enjoy it. This could actually turn out to be some of the nicest weather we see here over the next week or so. And as mentioned, most end up well into the 60s as we go through this afternoon. It won't be until after sunset. That's when most will be picking up some rain. The one exception to that, if you're watching right along that New York State-Pennsylvania border, right as we finish up the day, roughly around sunset, could see a stray shower, but then the radar really begins to fill up during the overnight, and that's when we get into some steadier rain around and after midnight. Some of this rain will be around tomorrow morning, but it's not going to be a complete washout. And check out the temps. It is still going to be very warm despite the wet weather tomorrow. It's tomorrow afternoon. Cold front swings in, will cool things off. Pretty much a carbon copy of what we saw this past Tuesday, where temperatures finished plummeting down to the 50s and even into the 40s as we head towards tomorrow afternoon and evening.
Well, there is no raining on the fact that today is one of your happiest days of the year. This guy loves the NFL draft.
Well, in football in general.
Well, yes.
Most people know it's about weather and football with me.
But you predict things for a living,
yes.
So you do a lot of predicting for the draft.
And I will have my prediction coming up later in the show.
All right. That's something to look forward to. He's usually spot on. Well, the draft day is underway in Nashville. We're going to look at what to expect for the Bills' first-round pick. We'll see if it matches up with what Dan eventually comes up with. Earlier this morning, Joe Biden officially announced his 2020 presidential campaign. We are looking at how the former vice president got to this point. And right now, here's a live look at a sunny downtown Buffalo from our Compass East camera. Nice looking day out there. Dan said it a minute ago, get out there and enjoy it. Maybe take lunch outside if you can. Time now is 8:14. You're watching Your Morning Buffalo.